It's been going. I've been doing better than I expected. Uh, well, the focusing on breath, maybe not quite as much because it's like I haven't really noticed the time of noticing getting closer. But yesterday I was able to do the stillness practice just fine. In fact, it was so relaxing that I did another session later in the day.
Nice.
I mean,
That's good
not
to hear.
stillness. That was the first week. I mean the stillness of mind, I guess. So
Hmm.
doing
I
the
can
clearing the
relate.
mind one, week 3.
I also found like the breath one, I found it harder to just focus on the breath than the one we just started, where we're more focusing on the gap in between our thoughts. For some reason, that comes more naturally to me.
I'm looking forward to starting on the sphere. That looks interesting. I don't know if it you may have seen the SCP article that I linked. That's what it reminded me of.
Okay. Yeah, the sphere stuff is good. If you've never done it before, it's quite the exercise, and it can be quite challenging. I would like to throw this out just for everybody. When you do the sphere stuff, you should start by just going after a 1 second glimpse, if that's all you can manage, and that will open up the next time you go to sit down. You might get a 3 to 5 second glimpse.
Okay,
Then the next time it might be longer. So
cool.
if the first couple sessions aren't that great, you just have to keep pushing through, and you'll get that 30 second
Also, right at
glimpse.
the right during week 5, like not exactly on the exact days, but like a week around then, I'm going to be visiting a friend's house, and my friend's also interested in these kinds of things, and he's has like some of the same ambitious ideas of the future of magic as me, and like I'm thinking maybe it would be a good idea to experiment with it together.
Cool. Yeah. Got more people pulling in. Hey, Ninja.
Hey,
Anyone done this stuff on psychedelics?
Yeah. Well, not
Doesn't
this.
surprise me.
What was your experience doing it on psychedelics?
I haven't done any of this on psychedelics yet, but I'll likely have a chance to soon. But
I've just
but
experimented doing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram on psychedelics before, and I find well, like I mean, like the short story would be it intensifies things. Like it really makes that powerful feeling. Like I don't know if you guys, I know that isn't really what we're necessarily practicing here. Is like things like the pentagram ritual and stuff. But the idea is like when you're doing it, you're kind of almost like playing pretend as if you're like in a god state, or maybe remembering the divinity inherent in you. And I find on
yeah, I
psychedelics,
prefer that second interpretation over playing pretend.
yeah, well,
no.
I like the playing pretend thing because it feels like how I get into it, you know. But I think it's a good point to point that out. Where sometimes I'm a little skeptical, just to try to like keep my feet on the ground. But I do, yeah, I do tend to think that too. But it just makes it easier to get into that state. Like I find when I'm doing it, like doing the vibrations, you're chanting the god names and tracing that, and it just feels like so much more theatrical on psychedelics, much more intense. It's hard to put into words. Again, I'm in that watery feeling where I'm remembering the feelings and trying to describe it to you guys.
That makes a lot of sense. Are you doing this in person, or like in the physical world, or in imaginal LBRP?
Yeah, I do both. Like sometimes I'll just sit down and just do it, you know, purely visualized. Other times I do like to stand up and physically trace out the pentagrams and turn in a circle and stuff. But
Awesome.
depends. I find
The
the
real
physical.
OGs, they have the robe and the sword and everything.
Yeah, yeah, that's so cool.
Awesome. Yeah, we actually do have a ritual after the outer order. There's an inner order where you get introduced to custom divine diamond sunrise. Like it's a DCR, divine coordination ritual, and there's a banishing and an invoking variation, just like there is for the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. But you don't have to speak Hebrew or Enochian or draw pentagrams, and it still works out. Just I find it more powerful, to be honest.
Wow, I'm curious to try it. That's neat.
What is it?
The divine coordination ritual.
Hmm. Is that a
It's like
Diamond Sunrise thing specifically?
Yeah, it's a Diamond Sunrise piece of ceremonial magic.
Do we learn that in stage 4?
In stage 4, you do get introduced to ceremonial magic. We have the Pillar of Purification, which is our version of the middle pillar from Golden Dawn, and then that one's a pretty good intro, pretty easy. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, student of light.
Yo.
Hi.
How y'all doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm observing. I don't know how I'm doing yet. I gotta think about it.
Well, you can qualify it any way you want, man.
Yeah, I
How are
was
the
just
older people
giving some spoilers. Sorry, we overlapped there. Go ahead. I was just saying I was giving people spoilers on some things to come.
Oh, nice. No, I was just asking how the good people of Diamond Sunrise be doing. What up, my wizard peep?
Yeah, good.
The mana is flowing
You want
adequately.
to? Okay.
Oh God, I bet I've been high vibing like crazy over the past few days, y'all. It's been wild.
The breathwork's really paying off.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the study course as well. I've been trying to do some of the practices.
Hell
That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, who's getting like really deep into their breath work? Who's really feeling it?
I noticed
I'm
sometimes
not
when I
sure if
do the
anyone else
mind
does.
clearing, sometimes I'll
Oh,
get
Matthew.
like you said you mentioned a glimpse of the sphere, and that's what that's um reminds me when I was doing the mind clearing practice yesterday when I really got into it, I would see like almost a glimpse of like a very almost like a screen inside my mind. It's interesting. Anyone else?
Yeah, I've gotten really deep into it. For anyone that doesn't know, I have some chronic pain issues in my back with problems in my spine and musculoskeletal problems and such. And so I try to get some pain relief through meditation, which I've been doing for years, but never anything like this structured before. And so I'm kind of combining the two, and I've had some good success with it. And yeah, it's been interesting. I did some chakra clearing meditation, kind of combined with the meditation that I'm doing this week, which is landscape and movement. So I did the chakra clearing meditation, which was a 45-minute guided meditation, and then in the landscape and movement meditation later that day, I decided to incorporate like movement and stuff that I used to do and want to be able to do, but can't really physically do at this point. So instead of just, like walking around in my landscape and noticing things, I put a weight room there. Went hill climbing, steep terrain hiking, just kind of things that I can't really do in the real world at this point that I want to get back to doing. So experiencing those in the Imaginum and trying to manifest making that happen over time.
That's amazing. That's powerful.
That's
Real
really
cool.
cool stuff, man. Like, so if you don't know, there's people out there that I learned from a guy in the middle of Arizona in nowhere, and this guy's still declared disabled by the military because they can't understand the means that he used to heal himself. Bro got bit in the middle of the night by a camel spider, got medically discharged, and was declared paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of his life. He used breath work, meditation, and key healing and vital energy techniques to revitalize his nervous system, bring back his legs. He walked around spry as a chicken, and they refused to acknowledge it.
You say that today, Cameron.
Interesting.
An absolute
Wow.
Chad.
That's pretty much exactly what I'm going for. There's a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza has a whole program about it.
Yeah, my teacher literally talks about Joe Dispenza. Absolutely good shit. That's the same teachings he was under.
Yep, that's I just bought the 3 books where he details his experience with he was hit by a truck while riding a bicycle and had 6 compressive vertebrae fractures. And apparently he refused a surgery and kind of rebuilt his spine through meditation and visualization. Now
Yep.
he was a chiropractor before that, so he's got quite the head start on me. I don't know what a spine actually looks like outside of models and pictures. So
I
to
want to see how far
visualize
this
that,
can go. Like imagine shapeshifting becoming normal.
Well, I mean, but according to the old world, that kind of was.
Yeah, that's what I want to bring back.
And you know,
yeah,
Bring
what
back
I was talking
shapeshifting.
exactly what
about,
I'm working on.
yeah, with Joe Dispenza's work, like that is the idea. You know, like you would definitely benefit to truly. Sorry, you benefit definitely to truly start studying like the spinal system and your own biology, so that you can start visualizing and using your visualization techniques from the Imaginum, combined with the energy that you're cultivating through your breath work, and then you can start directing the healing into
Is
your
that something
system.
we're going to learn here?
Go ahead, go ahead.
We're going to learn some of that here, right?
We're definitely like, so we're going to be learning in the foundations of the Diamond Sunrise. It's a lot of the mental techniques, the creative visualization techniques, the stillness, the basic kind of stuff that like we really need to kind of melt away all of the societal pre-programming has kind of gotten in the way of us just learning to take a deep spiritual, mental, physiological chill pill like we've never had before. And that's kind of the foundations of doing all of this shit. Is
There's
really
someone
just getting yourself back to that baseline chill level of human actual normalcy that we really haven't got too many doses of in our life.
The foundations, though, of getting really good with your imagination we don't do breath work currently, like psychedelic breath work. They usually have you like sign a waiver and stuff, because if you have health issues, then there can be issues that come up. But if you do have the backdrop of all this imaginative stuff, when you go to do something like breath work in your town or on your own, you'll have a far more profound experience than somebody who's never done any visualization and things like that.
I assume that would also apply to regular psychedelics because, like, I mean,
Definitely.
if it's a similar, yeah. Also, I yeah. Someone mentioned feeling skeptical of certain things, and like, I feel like I want to develop my mind in a way where the illusion doesn't even play a role. I don't like. There's still parts of me that are skeptical because I went through a long period in my life where I was really deeply clinging to scientific materialism, um, which needless to say isn't what I'm interested in doing anymore. Um, but I don't want like reality to even like pretend to be something other than like the what the you know what all the traditions say it is what I'm what I'm operating on the belief that it is this way. Um, like I want to I mean, I have had some experiences before that really do make it feel probable to me, but at the same time, it's still like I don't even want the illusion to be a factor. Like I don't want things rendering as less magical than they actually are just because of an illusion that I don't even want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. If I may jump in here, guys, and like that's a really awesome and realistic goal. And that's I think that's kind of the goal for all of us seekers is to dissolve illusions and see things from the truth of what they are. And especially, having that from our own unique perspective is very important in all of these traditions and teachings that we're kind of stumbling ourselves back upon. And you'll have experiences, that will be wild and weird and will push your boundaries and your sense of reality. But I also encourage everyone, just like I did, is I took a rigorous, logical, scientific framework with an entire cosmos worth of mysterious open-mindedness. And I found a scientific and a logical, rational explanation for everything that I believe in now. Everything that I
Like
study,
rational in what sense?
like
Well, actually, we live in an
science-
era where there are people who have very well-funded laboratories doing parapsychological research, and they just publish their
Hmm.
findings for free. I mean, you can read book after book about. I mean, if you don't have to give up science, if you want to be interested in spirituality and psychic phenomena, like you can
Ninja
start with Glenn Radin.
Faceplant mentioned something called Tom's Park in the chat, and that's actually created by one of the people who's doing experiments like that.
So I mean, you can take the scientific method into your approach to magic, my man, and that's totally
Yeah.
fucking healthy.
I'm
You
actually
know?
planning on. I'm actually started working on an electrical engineering degree.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, that's some good wizardry stuff right there, brother. Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Definitely,
One thing I'd like to do is find a way to use magic to override physics to the sense where I don't need to be affected by the scarcity structures, and I can enjoy all like the nice material things I want without having to take it from anyone else, or having to like work my ass off for it in consensus reality. I want like everything to be available for free, basically. And if one of I'm hoping that like I could figure out somewhat like what I want to basically remove the limitations that make material gain morally hazardous, so everyone can enjoy maximum material abundance without having to without having to compete for it or anything like that. And and even if like a lot of people even if a lot of people aren't ready for it, which I really hope they are soon, because I want everyone to be able to enjoy this. But I still want to be able to do it for myself, like in the meantime, so I can enjoy all the things I want in life, both material and spiritual, without having to compete in a zero sum economy for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And without having to
That
take it
makes
from
a lot
anyone
of
else
sense.
either.
It's an honorable goal. I think you can accomplish it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at the core of most really light-based, positive, evolution of humanity, good for all kind of magical practices that you'll find, that's really kind of the goal. And I can't guarantee that there is going to be hard work, because that's what I'm taught, is that it does sometimes take hard work and effort, at least. But
Yeah.
it's the most
I feel
noble
like
of effort.
Yeah. I feel like one thing I've noticed about the five principles, you have the five principles that are inviolable and like unchangeable. And one of them talks about like the work being necessary, but what if someone has a breakthrough that makes it possible for people to skip all that and still get all the benefits?
Yes, in Buddhism we call that expedient means, and that's
A
what
what?
happens. Expedient means is a term in Buddhism for that, and it's like when the Buddha went down, he's like, "Hey, here, I'm going to teach you all this stuff I learned about enlightenment, so you can hopefully skip, the 10,000 hours of meditation I did to figure all this out, and you can just have your this huge life hack moment of inspiration, and then go even further beyond me."
Yeah.
The
So
thing
if
is,
and actually
if
that's
like
one of
at
the
the end
things
of the
my
day,
friend's been working on too, trying to figure out. So
go ahead.
yeah. Um but yeah, I'm just saying I know another person who's been working on that, and he created like a way for transmitting attainments. I'll see, if anyone's interested, you can let me know, and I'll talk to
On
him
the
about
other
it.
hand, though, you can never do for someone else what they have to do for themselves.
Yeah, at the same time, if there's if you could if one could really help someone by doing so, and a means arises to make that possible, I see that as a good thing. And I don't know what would and that's my concern about the five principles is that like what if that one becomes obsolete because there's a new means that changes what's required. You know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
that's something I was
Well, let me
thinking about before I
explain it
joined.
this way, right? Like, there's only one way to get wisdom.
It's angel time. Look at your clocks real quick. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, not for me. There's only one way to get wisdom, and that's through experience. I think what you're talking about is along the lines of touching somebody on the forehead and downloading wisdom into their brain, which, maybe that's possible too. But
That does happen.
It should be. I think it should be an option for people who want it.
What,
But
to be able to touch on the head? But
That's
it's
not
not
enough.
wisdom, right?
Speaking as someone who was touched on the forehead as a small child by a literal Tibetan lineage holder, that's not enough. That's good. It's good to get that, but that's also not enough.
Okay.
You also do have to study and work yourself. It's you can't just be given everything. You can be given opportunity. You can't be given the results of effort, because the results of effort can only come from your own effort, your own practice.
Yeah, it's just I've always been like I've always looked at things like requirements for work or effort that isn't necessarily pleasant to be room for improvement. Like, as in, this is a situation that could be improved by making that optional. So it's just something I'm open to. I'm not saying it's definitely. I'm not saying we're definitely going to figure this out, but I'm saying
I do like
it's
that
something
idea.
that I'm open to, and I feel like it's good to be open to.
I mean, helping others,
but not,
I think it's good. I think it's a good ambition, good thought.
And maybe you could accelerate. If somebody is practicing and they want to go faster, there might be some methodologies, like you're saying, that can just super boost people quickly.
There definitely is. People come in with like different amounts of, as far as we understand it, like kind of compounded information already hidden within their DNA based on their own lineage, the soul that they inherited, how much kind of data has already been stuffed in it. And that can kind of change people's, experience. I think absolutely. I think some people can rocket through teachings and gain rapid understandings, where some people, on maybe one or other particular subject, it just takes them longer than others.
I mean, this
I
is
want to
all
level
true
the playing field by elevating everyone.
Just what we're studying here in this course, summoning the sphere and doing kind of foundational meditation practice and so on. But think of how long it takes to become a master painter. Like, you have to have the paints and you have to practice every day for years before you become someone who can just, from memory, draw a masterpiece of a drawing. Now, it could be that psychic and spiritual things are actually harder than that, right? It could be that this is actually quite a difficult thing to learn, and the idea that you can just magic your way into having developed a highly refined skill is, I think, naive somewhat. And this is one of the only fields in life that people think that you can just like magic your way into being an expert. It's actually probably harder than other things.
Yeah, maybe you're right, because part of the battle is you're battling with your inner psyche and learning about yourself the whole time as well.
I would love to jump in there, guys. Yeah. Just as like a professional artist who kind of worked on like what it actually takes to become a master and focus on that quick. I want to kind of bridge this middle ground where I agree with both, in the sense that so what I learned to do was, instead of just learning basic techniques when I started a new skill or a new medium in art, I would immediately go to learning the techniques that the masters use and start practicing them. And that was
that's good. I mean, that will accelerate your learning, I think, for sure. I mean, it's not to say that there's no benefit to having transmission and having teaching and tutelage from someone who really knows. I mean, that will obviously accelerate your progress dramatically. I mean, these days it's every kind of field of knowledge is very accessible. There's always someone who's putting out some kind of teaching that you can follow along with. So we're very fortunate in that respect. But yeah, I agree with you. It's not a. But I mean, my point still stands in the sense that, if you never ever practice painting, you're never going to actually.
No. And your point rolls in perfectly, right? Even if you do focus on what the masters are actually doing, that's still hard work and effort that you got to put in there to teach and retrain your body every lifetime. So relearn how to do those strokes and do those things, because we start with a new body every time we come into life, right?
Well, one thing people overlook a lot is that there's a further frontier of learning. Once you've learned from a master or from a teacher, it's like you also have to go further, because the lineage is meant to be a living thing that's passed down. Presumably, if you learn everything the master has to teach you over the course of your life, you might, learn more, and then you teach that to the next generation. That's the idea of the value of the lineage, is that it's actually a kind of compounding energy, compounding effort.
Yeah, in my blacksmithing tradition, they talk about how like the masterwork and what that term really was that like every master of a generation would put their best, all of their research. They would, like you said, progress the skill, do something new, do something never done before, lay their mark on the craftsman world with their masterwork.
Yeah, and those lineages used to exist in everything. I mean, they still exist a little bit in spiritual traditions, but we actually used to have them. Yeah, and like the guilds and blacksmithing and all this kind of stuff. But
Absolutely,
anyway,
man. In my teachings, in the beginning of my teachings, several years back, we used to talk about how, like, okay, well, there's all this entire realm of spiritual consciousness, right? And there's all these higher, per se, quote unquote, higher levels of experience out there, right? That other beings are already living. And we were like, okay, so if there's these primordials, these elemental beings, if there's these ancient, constructs of consciousness that are out there, like, what do they do for fun? What's interesting and unique and new for them? Like, if the angels did research on something, what would they be researching? Like, if the spirits of light and matter itself wanted to make something new, what would they play with? And that's a really fun idea to think that, like, even at the highest realms of existence, there's still beings out there playing with atoms and light and energies just to create new forms of existence.
I feel like there's a huge untapped frontier as far as making reality more free for everyone.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. That's a good stuff. I think that's what, a lot of us probably all have a big consensus on that. And I like to think that Diamond Sunrise here is a part of that coming to life.
Mm-hmm.
Manifestations of the desires of the collective consciousness, man.
Right. Yeah. If we can manifest things on our own, certainly we can make more powerful manifestations together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you guys hear about the Anon experiment that happened with the Bane plane? Like
The what?
No.
God, like six, 7 something years ago. So,
6,
like,
7.
the height the height of the anonymous movement, a bunch of fucking like old fag weirdos in like the fringe stuff were like, hey, like, we're all getting into manifestation magic and stuff like that, and they're like, hey, let's try to push the boundaries and see what we can do, because there was such big numbers on 4chan and stuff at the time. So my, the guy who gave me my like Anonopedia education showed me all of this and like has screenshots and saves of everything because he was a part of it. And
I
so
knew a
what?
bunch of those guys. It's they're wacky. Some of them.
Yeah, they're fucking special. I love them. So what they did was they got like, I think they said there was like 2,000 plus people on this thread, and so they got 2,000 plus anons to manifest the movie scene from The Dark Knight Rises where Bane steals the plane
Okay.
and the prison. Okay. And so they literally just, ha ha ha, we're going to manifest some dumb shit like this to happen. Next thing you know, the actual plane from the movie, the people wearing the same clothing as the actors, all kinds of crazy beyond coincidence things. A freak accident happens with the very plane. It crashes in a similar way. It falls apart in a similar way. There are people that look like the actors from the movie. Like, it was just.
Did people die in the accident?
Yeah, people died. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, then it wasn't really that great an experiment, was it?
No, right? So, like,
it's kind of like, I mean, they've proven something, but at great cost,
At a great cost, absolutely.
So.
They could have chosen something that would make life better for everyone.
Yep. And so, yep, they had pretty much learned, like, hey, like, oh, well, fuck, we can all really manifest a movie scene to actually happen from reality, and terrible things happened, and holy shit, manifestation is real, and reality is much more placid than we ever thought it was. And it was a pretty wild event for the anonymous world.
Good job they
I don't
didn't
remember
choose something
that.
worse.
When was this?
True.
God, I could not put a proper timestamp on it. Honestly, I was learned about it from someone who experienced it and who screenshotted the whole event, but I couldn't. That was like years ago, my man. I couldn't
And they're
remember
doing
it.
all kinds of like weird, wacky. It's kind of because you have a lot of people on there who are very like nihilistic and misanthropic. I remember Winter Chan was
Yeah,
another one of
I
the
know
ones where
I know what it's like.
they wanted to kill all the homeless with a winter with the Great Winter or whatever, and that
The
Why
Great
not
there's
do
all these
that? Why
like
not?
things that they do.
the,
Fortune.
the
I don't think
Great
that's particularly
Why
good. I
not
think like
help them?
if you're gonna go to the trouble of like organizing a group manifestation magical circle or whatever, then if only we had some kind of modern ethics that would actually appeal to these people, that would enable their energies to be channeled in a
Oh my
direction
god!
that's more kind of pro humanity, right? But
Do you
I don't
remember
know.
Ebola Chan?
Yeah, I know the guy who's behind Ebola Chan.
Fucking Ebola Chan, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I knew him. I don't talk to him anymore because he's a black magician. I think what you saying.
That's dark stuff, y'all. Fucking dark
Yeah.
stuff. Like, just people like getting lost in the black chaos stuff. And he's right. There's very much nihilistic people, like Rick Sanchez kind of people, all over the place, fucking with crazy old magic and stuff.
I mean, I used to try and talk to those people. Like, I used to try and give them the bodhisattva pitch, and like, if only instead of killing everyone, you could try and promote social enlightenment. And everyone's all booing and laughing at me and saying, "Oh, you moral fag," and all this kind of stuff.
You're doing the good work, Hermitage.
I was a junior, an
bro.
unpaid junior associate member of the Great White Brotherhood, right?
Yeah.
Unappreciated, kicked out of everywhere. That's
Oh
what it
my
was, man.
god, bro! I haven't heard anyone here mention the Great White Brotherhood, bro. We're gonna have to talk sometime.
Yeah, sure.
Never heard of it. I wanted to ask Ninja. You still here, Ninja?
Just about.
You've had a couple RV sessions that have worked out for you. Is that right?
Hell yeah! It's been going too well, suspiciously well.
Ooh, tell us, Ninja Man. We haven't heard from you yet today. Or I haven't, at least.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
You don't have to be on the spot.
Well, we've been doing associative remote viewing, and we don't know what the target is. And twice now, Ninja has gotten like pretty bang on, like way over 5 out of 10. If you were to rate the RV, like pretty good, huh? Like one of them. What would you rate yours, Ninja?
Like maybe a 3 out of 10, something like that. Maybe.
I'm scared of remote viewing because I know it works, and I know people who are really into it, and like I'm scared to do it myself because I feel like if I get good at it, then I'll just keep doing it all the time. And
what's
I don't
wrong?
know.
Why would that be a bad thing?
I don't know, but I feel like it would be a
You might
bad
see
thing.
too much.
You might
Because
see too much.
spoilers
You might
or
start
something?
getting a bit unstable. Yeah. Like there's a reason that houses have walls,
You can
I really feel like
check the fridge without opening the door.
Wouldn't mean you would
That's like
have
the
to
best.
do it like whenever, like any times. It was just you can choose. It would be like you
I
choose
don't know.
when they're permeable.
There's a certain kind of like I don't really like what happens to society once everyone has the power to remote view everyone else.
We
as
just
it
get
were.
better at defense, right?
Theoretically, but I don't know. It makes me feel a little. It's interesting. You're asking me the question, why would that be bad? And I never really I haven't had the pushback to actually properly examine my feelings about it. But I have some kind of instinctive feeling that it would be bad.
Your
So I
fear
don't
of
know.
it might be holding your skill
I
back.
don't really like the.
I think you're right that it is.
About,
Basically,
like,
I'm just afraid of it.
I don't really like the. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not saying there's any ill will towards you or anything. I'm just saying I don't really tend to like the arguments about saying like if what would it mean what would it be for society if everyone could do this, if it's something that people have the potential to do, and it's not up to society. People
No, I know.
I
It's just, there's a lot of bad things that
people
happen in the world, and I've kind of seen enough of it.
Yeah, I know, but it's
there's
like
a lot
I
of.
want everyone to have their full capability because it's theirs, and it's not society. I don't really. I mean,
There is an interesting thing about this as well, which is that perception, like attention, carries a kind of energy of its own, and like just by paying attention to something, there's a kind of strange, subtle effect that's going on.
All right.
And maybe there are some things in life that like just stop being possible once there's global surveillance. I think that might be why there's kind of less evident magic everywhere, is because
Do you want to
everything's
hear
seen.
my ultimate conspiracy theory about the whole thing?
Please, I would love to.
I'm not sold that we're actually viewing the future event. I think it might be 50-50 creation and viewing. I don't think you're actually. I think you're like drawing the path rather than actually seeing what's going to happen, if that makes sense. You're
How's that a
directing.
conspiracy theory?
If I
So it leads to if everyone can then do it, you've got the same reality creation manifestation thing that currently happens where you're one voice of many that's directing things. So it's kind of like no one person can sway things.
So I'm actually someone who practices like divination and foresight and all kinds of premonition and stuff. I used to get to. I was at a point when I was really working on it a while back for like I could see people walking into the room before it happened, that kind of stuff. But
Mm.
the whole thing is like that I was taught through my teaching is time in its construct and all the possibilities is like a tree, and you are at the center of the trunk, right? Ahead of you or behind you is a whole root of possibilities and decisions and all different kinds of factors that led to that present moment that is you. And then before you is an entire world of foliage and branches and possibilities and leaves and moments that are all just as infinitely possible to manifest as they are unmanifested. And where you are in alignment with your own self and your path in life is kind of determining which branch you are more likely to follow. And of course, that's always susceptible to change, which is why, like just like you said, nothing is permanent. It's a 50-50 kind of thing. Because just as much as I can see where I am going right now, I, as someone who wields my own power of destiny and manifestation, have the active choice to change my course. And that's some really cool teachings I had on it. I might offer.
That's very good. I was just thinking again in response to what Ninja Faceplant said. If we all possess this power of manifestation, well, it becomes a kind of war to control the minds of human beings, because the consciousness of human beings is what determines the future, right?
Well,
There's a certain arena of trying to get everyone to manifest the thing that's desired by someone versus someone else. I mean, you just think about what Student of Light said about the Bane plane and all these kind of things that happen. Well,
Sure.
like there are probably people in the world who want people to manifest in a certain direction, like
100%.
the AI control grid and all this kind of thing. So I don't know. It's interesting to think about. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I definitely believe in the power of human consciousness to change things, but
I think it depends how things are laid out. So if it's like if everyone's instanced, it doesn't really matter because you can ignore the external game world, if you like, that's trying to apply its will on you, or it's more like you're on train tracks that you can hop between and choose the channel you're viewing. It's not like you're stuck on this terrible timeline that can't be fixed. Like in either one, you can always skip away to something a bit more desirable. You're not trapped in a particular timeline.
I suppose that's true. I mean, I kind of feel the world is a thing in itself, that maybe like the Earth itself has its own consciousness. We are kind of subject to that, and we're attached to that.
100%.
I definitely feel like that.
It's working in your best favor always.
I wish I had that much faith, but I appreciate the idea. I mean, I would like to believe that.
Yeah, what, you don't have faith?
I mean, I do, but I mean, I don't necessarily think that the world is arranged to help me. But
I honestly found in my magical practice, nothing was more beneficial for me than trying to see where's my faith on a scale from 1 to 100, and then trying to push it up to 100, and then looking, is there any room to go above this, and realizing I'm actually at 100 out of 1,000 now, and you just keep going and going until you're completely infinite faith. Like that, there's zero doubt. Like any doubt that is there is sabotage, basically.
Yeah.
Somebody write this shit down.
Erase all doubt. Dissolve all doubts. There are limitations in your world. When you allow doubt into your world, you are programming your own consciousness to manifest those doubts into your reality. You are the only thing that set limitations on your reality. My wizard friend learned that truly.
And that's what divine coordination in our favor is. It's like if you can vibe with that, it's max level faith all the time. Where you're like, oh, everything's divinely coordinated in my favor. I've got nothing to worry about. Everything's working out perfectly. It does.
We good, baby.
Okay. I mean, I got some complicated rebuttals to that, but I'm going to vibe with ultimate faith. I think.
Do it.
Yeah, just give it a try. Give it a try, and then in a couple of weeks we'll chat about it again, and
Sure.
we can see what level. I wonder, you can write down what level your faith is now, and then what you're at then, and what the difference feels like. Spiritual science.
I don't think. Well, I think about what I mean by faith is kind of like. I think I've been burned too much by a naive confidence in my own knowledge, and you always learn a little bit more. And the more I've learned about how the structure of consciousness and the universe is, the more I feel it's an impersonal thing that is kind of that I just am a part of, but it's not anything that personally relates to me in any more. Like, I'm not more personally significant than any other node in the graph here, in the sense that we were talking before about like timelines and so forth. Well, I have the power with my mind to manifest reality and so forth, but is my power any superior or inferior to someone else's power? Well, maybe within a certain limit, right? In the sense that someone can have a strong mind and someone can have a weak mind. Someone can have a power of concentration that's honed by practice and someone cannot. But like, imagine the person with the strongest mind that you know and the person with the weakest mind that you know. It's like the difference between their power of manifestation is like, it's not more than 10x or something, right? Maybe 100x, but it's not like infinity x, which means like we're part of a system that is structured in a certain way, and understanding the boundaries of that structure are what my interest is. The idea of like
zero boundaries. It's infinite in all directions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, is it? I don't know if it is, right? This is my thought. I don't believe that things are infinite in all directions. I think things are infinite in aspects, in the sense that if you have like the tree diagram you're talking about before, like, well, within the limits of your current branch, there's like an infinite realm of possibilities.
Just keep branching. Just keep hopping.
And you got to think about it. I'd love to jump in here, guys. Is that like,
sure.
You said something earlier is like about, does everyone have that potential? And baseline, yes. Yes, everyone might be at different levels of development and progress, as an individual that is a part of a whole, but we do all seem to share the same human genome and the same human blueprint, and we can all have the same potential, right?
Yeah.
And it's really just a matter of not even like people's level of development and how capable they are of learning, but how great of a teacher we can be. Because the most masterful teacher of all time can get through to any student with like not even really saying like words. They can say it without saying it and give people an aha moment. And no matter what their level of development. So we should be aspiring to be the greatest teachers, as well as being the greatest students simultaneously, right? I think that, you particularly, as you just expressed, Herman, because I think you went through a really good point of like, kind of your own ego check, it sounds like. And it sounds like you developed a really, really good sense of boundaries with keeping your cosmic consciousness individualized and within a certain humble point that I think all of us need as students of the great mysteries that have gone really, really far down the path. And now it's time that you can kind of open yourself back up a little bit and get back into a little bit of faith and open yourself up a little bit with that really, really healthy sense of self-control and discretion that you have talked about having, which is fucking awesome that you've achieved that recently, man.
Well, I mean, I agree with you that what's possible for one is in theory possible for anyone else. Like, I don't necessarily believe that there are people who are different in potential, as it were, but you have to realize your potential and improve it. But there's a limit on that as well, in the sense that as an individual, your raw ability to do something is always going to be less than like all of 4chan that you were bringing up before, right?
Well, yeah, and you've learned about the will of heaven, right, in the Eastern teachings, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, once you achieve a certain level of enlightenment, you achieve your completely unique skill set from from the heavens, right? And so everyone has their own unique individual, kind of magic per se to themselves, or special gift once they reach that. So there's a truth to that in everything you just said. Like we're both hitting on similar parts of the same truth. As much as we
I
all have
don't
to
know
take
necessarily where I was even going for in the beginning, but it's something like I was saying, like having ultimate faith. Like I think Archibald said, like 100 out of 100 faith. You realize it's 100 out of 1,000. You try and go further in faith or whatever. I am not sure. I suppose I've lost my faith to a certain extent, but which is not to say that I've lost my understanding of things like manifestation and psychic phenomena really are real. But I don't think that you need to necessarily stop thinking in terms of bounded realities to be able to incorporate all this knowledge.
Yeah, I agree, man. And honestly, I sympathize, bro. Like talked about like my faith over the past year went through like the hardest trials of my self initiation as a mystic. And like my faith like took the hardest hit. And like honestly, like the spirit of magic and like all the wonderful, wild, life changing, reality melting stuff that made me who I am really disappeared for a while. And it's a real big bummer kind of coming down from that really high vibrational place, man. Hits you in the feels in a way you kind of like takes a while to figure out. But I'm happy to say even that with faith, I can truly
If I could
say
say one more thing about faith when you're done, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you're good. But with some faith and belief that I could bring all that back and take the reins of my life back into the wild, weird of magic, no matter where I was. It's changed for the better for me recently, and I hope that's some good testimony that I take something away from.
Because one thing I wanted to clear up, because faith, it can sound like, oh, everything's working out in my favor, so my life's going to be perfect. But what actually happens is we will still be making mistakes. But when you have high faith, you instantly recognize that mistake as a teaching moment that was put on your path that you needed to get to where you're supposed to go. Rather than being like, oh, this thing happened to me, you're like, oh, a sweet learning opportunity, because that's divinely coordinated. That small little mistake and that learning lesson, that cringe, whatever it might be, it's there for you to learn from. And once you learn from it, that you'll look back and be like, oh, that was the thing. I thought it was bullshit, but it was amazing. I'm glad that happened to me.
I don't know, but is it okay for other people to get hurt from my learning experience?
What do you mean? Are you going to go
like,
around hurting people?
If I have like infinite faith in my own action, and my action, which ought to have been responsible and pragmatic for the benefit of many people who would be affected by it, ends up doing something wrong and hurting those people, well, then should I have had such faith in myself? Is it okay to like create a disaster for the sake
I
of
think faith in yourself is not the faith we're talking about.
In the faith in one's divine guidance or something like that. That's guiding.
Well, it's the faith that that things are like that you are being like divinely taken care of, basically, right?
The special method on my computer.
But it's okay for me to be divinely taken care of. But what about everyone else?
He made a really good point though, guys, that like there's a difference between divine guidance and what you do and the actions that you take. This is a really, really big part of my teachings, which are rooted in like Eastern mysticism and like kind of like Western theosophy. But there's a huge difference between what you do and what your divine guidance is. And in my teachings, my goal is to be in complete 100% synchronicity with my divine guidance at all times. And so like if you're doing that, yeah, great. But like there can most people don't have that synchronicity going on. And so they're acting independently as an independent human and personality for from like their ego experience or whatever you want to however you want to qualify it or understand it.
I'm so grateful, Hermitage, that you are engaging in this conversation, because we don't talk about faith, and which is divine coordination, which is the sigil, enough in Diamond Sunrise, I think. And it's such a confusing and difficult thing to talk about, and it's so powerful. This is really conducive to growth. I'm learning a lot myself, I think.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the conversation also.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that's a great point, Z. And it is. It's really tough. A lot of us, especially those of us in the West, have been really turned off to these ideas, and these words and concepts have been used and abused so hardcore that it's really rubbed us all so the wrong way that we kind of ended up all here in the Diamond Sunrise, right?
I noticed something earlier. Diamond Sunrise sounds a little bit like almost like it could be the name of a My Little Pony character.
Diamond Sunrise. Yeah, that would be a good My Little Pony. Whip one up on AI. Let's see it.
The hyper sigil is the hyper sigil is a cutie mark.
There you go.
Oh
Love it.
What is happening? Fuck.
Crossover.
I mean, I thought of it as like bringing Vajrayana into public consciousness, but I mean, everyone perceives things through the lens of their own biases, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just learned stuff from my Vajra yesterday. How's the sigil working for everyone? By the way, like how is the set? I would love to hear some testimony about the presence of the sigil in the students' lives, because I use this shit every day.
It keeps what it feels like is it keeps manifesting itself to me visually while I meditate.
Cool.
Okay, that's cool. So your mind is literally drawing you to it, like as a focus. It sounds like, which is really cool. Anyone else got some cool testimony? Do you use it? Don't use it? Haven't thought about it? Had maybe a cool experience with it once? Maybe it gave you a tingle of a feel when you thought about it? You have a hard time conjuring things in your brain, like anyway, go do it.
You know what's interesting? Everybody will go to one of the weeks that we're going to get to is actually specifically drawing the sigil in your mind repeatedly until like you can do it line by line, and then you can place in the aspects of it like X, infinity, diamond, circle, and then you learn to just place it instantly, the whole thing. And I think I will probably have a lot more testimonies related to that when we get to that point. But the Chimera cohort, we just are on that week right now. So we're all on day 2 or 3 of drawing the sigil in our minds every day. And for me, I could give a testimony. I also think about it every day. It is my source of faith, and I look at it like when I was doing breath work, like I'll draw the sigil in my mind, and it will cause like a 10x in whatever I'm doing. Sometimes, like
Nice.
if I engage with it while I'm doing something, it is often profound.
I believe that 1000%, especially because you are the one that was the original creator of this construct. It was given to you, and you brought it into manifestation and reality, which is a huge responsibility. I got at the beginning of my initiation, I was pulled into a group off of like Instagram where this guy was talking all good things about pouring energy into a sigil. And when I asked him like, "Hey, this is a symbol of gold, so like, what's our purpose here? What's going on here? Yada yada yada. This is a big powerful thing that you're drawing us all into." It's a big thing, Like I'm glad that you can focus on that, and all of the radiance and the love and the light and the energy that has come from that sigil that you've created is being precipitated back to you in proper karmic form tenfold, because you deserve that. And it's been a really like that reciprocation comes into my life every
And I
day.
think it'll come into everybody's life once they start engaging with the sigil more and more. There's a lot of people who aren't in this chat right now who I've heard great testimony of them doing a full moon meditation or a new moon meditation, charging the sigil or withdrawing from the sigil, and just like the most amazing things happening.
Yeah, especially because, like, look, I know, I feel like I could confidently say for Z or myself and several others here, and the general premise of most of the people in Diamond Sunrise, that we're all here to do really good things. and try and better our world, our fellow man, our fellow mystics, our fellow wizards in general, and to bring as much, peace and harmony as we can. I think for the most part, I'd say that's a pretty general consensus. And so
And
when
freedom.
yeah, freedom, absolutely, freedom, and to use all of this energy that's being put in this sigil to harness more of that and to make our fellow people more free and prosperous and bountiful and peaceful, the more power to it, because that's the only thing I want from that sigil, and anyone that would put energy into it is I just want to harness that to bring the most abundance to our world and our people, and to build a new age for magical folk and for humanity in general.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen to that, brother. I think a theme that I'm noticing that we've been talking about throughout the whole conversation is that we all do, like you said, have that positive intention towards wanting to make humanity better. Maybe not everyone. I'm not going to speak for everyone if there's some evil wizard in here, but that's okay. And just the fact that we all kind of stated that as our intention during this conversation, I think is going to, on its own, have an effect on the world. We might not see it as we walk out the door today, but keep these intentions up, everybody. We're doing God's work, the universe's work.
The divine intelligence's work, however you want to look at it, people.
Yeah, I'm not so attached to the word God, but it's the first one that comes out when I think about just so short and easy to say.
Well, the divine intelligence is indwelling in you, theoretically.
It's that word is just it's just like a sigil. It's been charged with a lot of really good meanings. So I mean, I use it too.
Well, it's been an hour. I'm glad everybody joined. I'm going to have to leave here, but if anybody wants to hang out longer, feel free. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It was a great conversation.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thanks.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Thanks for being the vortex that drew all these wonderful wizard folk in.
Amazing conversation. Love you all. Have a great day. I'll talk to you again.
Farewell.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, good stuff. Super excited.